Cole Langford from the Bombers.
Yep.
He
KL30.
Apparently his father is a bit of an AFL nuffy.
Is that right?
Apparently, the word on the street, I know this a barista who can confirm that the two of them, Kyle and his father, went into a cafe and Kyle wanted to order a normal latte and his dad butted in and said, no, you'll get what AFL footballers get, soy or almond milk only.
No way.
I swear it.
That's incredible.
If true.
I can't believe that a 21, 22-year-old guy would still be hanging around with their dad if they Welcome, everybody, to the round 15 episode of the Magoos.
15.
15, we're here.
We've done it.
Well done it.
We're finished.
Well, we haven't. We're starting it. We're starting round 15. We'll have a very special treat later on in the show with Paul from the Carlton Draft coming in. The Carlton Draft, of course, not the popular beer as he addresses, as we will ask him to address later in the show.
Which we haven't had the interview for yet.
No,
but
so
we will address
we'll have to ask him that.
It's from the Facebook page. And
yes, the Carlton Draft. So it's DRAFT.
Yeah.
So it's a satire page, very big out there. Do a lot of AFL merchandise and some pop culture stuff. So it'll be very interesting to have him here in the Magoo's studio talking through all that. But before we do, we've got all our regular stuff to get through, Ben. And what has dominated this week is Jeremy Cameron's hit on Harris Andrews of the Brisbane Lions.
The Brisbane Lions. The boy has it ever, actually. What are your thoughts on that? I just want to, because we did say we're going to speak about Jeremy Cameron.
Yeah.
But I didn't get I didn't say what's your opinion on it yet. But I'm hoping we disagree, but
5. Yeah, we don't disagree. I mean, we do, but we haven't really gone at each other yet.
No.
Which would be nice. Like, I'd really like to argue. So Jeremy Cameron gets 5 weeks from the tribunal. My thing is, right, and I mean, we put it out to the Magoo's community, and in our Twitter poll, this Twitter poll got more votes than any Twitter poll we've ever done.
So it's a hot topic.
It's a hot topic. So we said 3 weeks or less, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks plus. Ooh. 6 weeks plus had 40% of the vote. Hey. Right? So he's given 5 weeks, and that was 37% of the voters. 4 weeks had 19%, and 3 or less had 4%. When I first saw it, I thought 3 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, they show it from a few different angles, and you see, the elbow cut or the forearm comes up, and he collects him pretty nastily. And so I thought at the tribunal he'd get 4 weeks is what I sort of came to the point. But my thought about the whole thing is that, so the football media and the football public, a lot of people have been saying that they don't want the outcome to control punishments for those, like, the bumps and stuff like that, where people get knocked out and cut open and stuff. They go, just because they go off, that doesn't make the action any worse because the individual, might be more prone to things or might get him in his sweet spot.
It's a very grey area
all
when
that
you
sort
start
of stuff. But then
doing that.
As soon as Harris Andrews, so he obviously had the cut on his chin, they stretched him off, but he came back to the bench, and so he didn't have a broken jaw or anything, and everyone thought, maybe it's not going to be as bad as we thought it might be for Jeremy Cameron. But then that night, he's at home, he feels crook, he goes to hospital, and he's got the small bleed on his brain, which of course is horrific. Hold on to your pens. We don't want you losing another one. And then, then that public outcry came of, we can't have this happening to players, they've got to throw the book at Jeremy Cameron. But then is that not the same narrative of, the people who are saying don't let the result dictate the punishment? Now that the result's really bad, they're sort of going, well, maybe we should. Yeah, I mean, he's got a bleed on the brain. He might never, I think that I hope that he recovers and he recovers. He might have to miss the rest of this season, unfortunately, Harris Andrews. But
so therefore, Jeremy Cameron should? Is that by their...
Yeah, that's that sort of, the action...
It's a bit harsh.
Yeah, does the result...
Even when you get life in prison, it's not life, is it? It's really 25.
That's the thing, yeah. So, it's not really the thing.
It's not the thing at all.
It's not the thing at all.
It's testing you.
But... Yeah, so it's just an interesting one, and it's sort of, I would have been comfortable with 4 weeks, and then, all this stuff comes out, and people are saying, it was weak from the tribunal, they should be giving him 8, 9. I heard Ben Dixon say on a podcast that isn't this one, 8 weeks, and I thought that all... That
Barry Hall got
excessive.
8, didn't he?
Yeah.
7 or 8?
Yeah, and at least this was, they're in the air, and it's a bit, it's not... It didn't look great, obviously, but it didn't look like a pure act of thuggery.
The thing that shits me is people using evidence of still screenshots of, like, each by each, they never look good.
No.
They never look good. When you look at it in real time, I actually agree with you. I thought 3 or 4. I think the 5 might have just been like because we don't want any backlash, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that extra week, but people are calling for more than that.
Well, I mean, 40% of our Magoo's community said 6+, so that could be anywhere from 6 to.
Yeah. Now, my thoughts with people, their opinions on that is sort of like, is that what you truly believe, or is it just like a few big media personalities of saying that, so therefore you're like, well, I'll agree with that because it's easier to do that than get in an argument with someone?
Or do they, does their team play GWS in the next 6 weeks? And they go, I think Carlton has got GWS in the 6th week, so I was sort of thinking 6
well, if that's sort of happening, then you should take a good look at yourself and not actually Jeremy
just
Cameron.
running a...
It was bad, but it...
What another discussion that came up because of it was the red card discussion is do you bring a red card into the AFL? And, I mean, I'll ask you, red card, yes, no?
If you're just asking yes, no, I'm going to say no.
Yeah, good. Okay.
But it is funny that it is the only professional sport where you can literally do that and still play the rest of the game.
It's
it is funny.
It's unique, yeah. It's because you see that in any other sport.
Yeah.
There's at least the sin bins and stuff, but I wouldn't trust the umpires with a red card.
Nah, they've already got enough.
I think most of the time, in other sports, red card. I mean, there's obviously the variable with the yellow in soccer and stuff. But even the NBA refs, when they turf someone, I think usually it's pretty spot on. But I can't see. I can see an AFL umpire running in for something they see out of the corner of their eye, running in a red card and getting rid of. It's
going to create more flopping. It's going to create a lot of more.
Yeah, I just think that would open more can of worms.
Yeah.
I understand
especially
the argument in terms of
Andrew's
one of Brisbane's best players out for the game, so why does Canberra get to finish the game?
Yeah.
Which is a fair point, but I'm not sure that we're ready to trust the umpires with a red card.
No, and football's so subjective too. Like
that's the thing.
NBA, as you mentioned as an example, it's not as subjective. A foul's a foul, and a hard foul's a hard foul, non-basketball. But with football, you're copying an elbow to the head. How can you decide in that split moment whether that was deliberate or not? Whether we can't even do it a week after it happened.
Yeah. So, moving on from that, just quickly, I went at the Footy Sunday, Carlton Collingwood.
So I wanted to talk about the Bombers. But if you want to talk about Carlton Collingwood, go for it.
What I'm so excited about was the Cripps Curnow double.
Yeah.
I know we talk a lot about our own clubs, and I'm not going to bang on about this, but those two guys, Cripps and Curnow. Curnow's just signed a 5-year extension, and Cripps is to follow suit. Not as long, but will re-sign as well. We're told. Think that it's amazing that a week ago at Carlton they got flogged by Fremantle and it didn't look like anyone was trying all that sort of stuff. And you go, where are that? And then they have a real crack against Collingwood.
It was a real good battle, wasn't it, Sunday?
Who, lost Levi Casbolt 10 minutes before the game. Two men down on the bench from halftime onwards. It was a classic and Cruiser.
Classic, old school battle.
They just
between
tried,
two old
and that's.
teams.
I mean, it might sound for those teams, for the people out there who support teams that are on top of the ladder. Seeing your team try probably shouldn't be enough, but sometimes it is. And I mean, those two guys were absolutely fantastic. But what I wanted to ask you, did you see Charlie Curnow's hangers?
I was going to say which one, but you said plural.
So they were the group one early, the one where he sort of came at the top of the pack, and then there was the one later on where he got set up and did that.
That one later was beautiful, wasn't it?
Didn't get nominated for Mark of the Week.
Didn't.
Nah. So his first one did. But
in terms of difficulty, that first one would have been harder. Pack marks are a lot harder. But
I thought the mark of the year or the mark of the round, it sort of goes for that high flying. I liked Taylor DeRay's one. I thought that should have been nominated, but the one Luke Hodge took was a little bit.
It's got a mosquito over here. Sorry.
The one Luke Hodge took was a little. It definitely wasn't as good as Charlie Curnow. I'm not sure if there's a rule against having 2 nominations in the 1 week, but. That was very exciting from a Carlton point of view, and of course you would have been wrapped with the Bombers last Thursday night.
I was certainly wrapped because we were talking you said it'd be silly for me to try and put them in the 8 at the end of the year, and I agreed. I was like, look, I'm not going to go down that path. I do agree, but then a big win over in Perth sort of made me start barracking for other teams on the weekend. For example, I was going for you guys because I want those sort of. I'd love to weasel. We're good at weaseling our way into.
Weasel your way into it.
Into those sort of things.
Okay.
Speaking of weaseling, you want to get into it?
Might as well weasel our way into it, eh?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Jakey boy.
Benny boy.
What's up?
Same old.
Yeah. Twitters?
Yeah,
Get
hit
into the
us.
socials.
Hit us. What do we got?
Had a couple of questions during the week.
From the
Mitch,
Magoo's community.
yeah,
giving
from the
us.
Magoo's community, which, I'm really enjoying the Magoo's community.
Ever growing.
Huh?
Ever growing.
Ever growing.
Huh?
Anyway, Mitch Harris has asked.
Yep. Loyal viewer of the show, Mitch.
Yeah. More than halfway through the year, and he wants to know our All-Australians so far. Now, he's asked for pretty much the whole squad, but I'm thinking, what do you reckon we just give...
Might have to do an All-Australian episode. We're just a couple at a time, isn't
Yeah. So we'll start with the forwards, maybe. He wants to know what our...
it? A couple of key posts.
Yeah.
Centre-half, full.
Centre-half full. What do you reckon?
I think that... Or I think Ben Brown's your lock for one of the two.
Not
Centre-half
going to
or
argue
full.
with that. You'd have to put him full, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you think so. Leading the goal kicking, isn't he? So
Yeah. And his accuracy.
Sort of-
Kick 40 goals, 12 points.
Yeah, it's nice,
That's
isn't it?
what,
Yeah, I saw something during the week. I think Brad Scott said that it's a testament to the hours of work he puts in. Like, it's not that hard. Set shots aren't that hard if you're willing to put the work in.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
Tell that
makes
to the rest
sense.
of the
Yeah.
millionaires who
Everyone
don't
else
do their
who don't,
job.
Yeah, and I think that. Going on goals kicked, Jeremy Cameron was second, but he, as we've spoken about, he misses the next 5 weeks, so he won't be. I think he might have done himself out of any chance he had of being in that All-Australian forward line. But
Yeah.
I might go a little left field. I think maybe a Tom McDonald.
T-Mac.
He's got the best average goals per game.
Yeah, so he just
In the
hasn't
comp.
played.
Yeah, so he hasn't played as many
Yeah,
games. So
yeah.
again, that stretches out. He's had less opportunities to score goals, but it
he'll
means if he's
likely
played
be
the
in every
games.
game for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
when
so
he's injured.
So hopefully then, I can see that if he continues averages 3.5 goals a game, if he
Yeah.
continues on that
Yeah.
on that path, then I'm not sure he can catch Ben Brown. Medal wise, I think he could.
Yeah.
But I think he's about 12 behind. I'm not saying it's
Is he
impossible.
12 behind? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's about 12 behind. But yeah, I think that the way he's playing, the form he's come back in.
I think that centre half's up for grabs for sure because you got.
But Buddy's around. for
Buddy's
sure.
always flank. I was going to say Buddy's just.
But they're happy
always-
to sort of play him on a half forward flank in terms of the All Australian makeup. So
Is that okay? Yeah, because he doesn't take as many contested grabs as a centre forward.
no,
probably
he
should.
doesn't.
Doesn't have to, though.
But then if they don't have that many big key forwards, Jack Darling would have been a lock before he hurt himself.
Yeah. And Kennedy out again.
Kennedy as well,
Kicking
yeah.
goals.
So
a lot of ins
it's,
and outs.
it's quite tight, isn't it? There, but
Yeah.
I think that I'm happy to go Cameron. Listen to me, Ben Brown and Tom McDonald as my full forward centre forward. Yours,
Nice. Well, I agree on Ben Brown, and I will go with Buddy.
even though he doesn't take the contested mark.
Even though, just based off he's a centre forward, and
Okay, great.
he seems to be consistent at the moment.
Great.
Another question that
Yeah.
came in. This is from this last name sounds familiar. The real Lambo.
Yeah,
Is
how's
this
that? Yeah,
is this
father.
relations?
Yes, father of.
Father of
Loves the show.
loves it. Good on him. Good on you, David. In the tradition of the Magoos, we had a Vic Metro versus Vic Country curtain raiser on Sunday. Should we have more of these with VFL and women's games?
I think definitely.
I reckon
think
that's a
it's-
great idea.
I think it's the most harmless thing that anyone could do is to have more footy being played on the same day at the same ground.
Yeah.
It gives
It's
the
quite
exposure
simple.
to the
It's quite simple, isn't it? It's
gives
really
the
simple.
gives the exposure of either VFL or AFL women's or
Yeah.
the under 18s of playing on a big ground on and the crowd's not going to be there that early,
Yeah.
of course, but it's just I don't see any negatives in it at all.
Neither. Other than maybe the ground staff might not be happy with
ground
2 games in a row. But
Yeah, it's on the MCG. The MCG hasn't had mud on it since one of the 70s, maybe the 60s. So I think that they'll be
Probably.
fine. But curtain raisers are a tick for me.
yeah, I agree. Big tick.
Okay.
Big tick.
Well,
Great question, Dave.
Can I take over now? Can I do my
You
Magoo's
sure
moment?
can,
It's just
Magoo's
a little quick
moment.
one. I know that we both love our basketball. You're a huge NBA. I enjoy
fan.
it, but I'm not Ben Franzini levels of.
Well, I appreciate that you acknowledge that. I do like my NBA. Yeah.
Yeah, good for you. But so, my mob, the Detroit Pistons, recently signed Dwayne Casey from the
Dwayne-o.
Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
And he was recently sacked from the Toronto Raptors after a less than impressive playoffs campaign.
Yeah.
But he was awarded at the NBA Awards the other day the coach of the season for his efforts at the Toronto Raptors, who sacked him.
Yeah. It's
So-
all just.
Are they number one seed in the East?
They were number 1 seed. Yeah.
So he's coached the side to top.
yeah.
And then what did they win?
They got swept.
One series. Yeah, they
Got
won.
swept by the Cavs.
They won the first series, and then lost to the Cavs. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
Which is
Bear in mind, I don't think
LeBron James swept him.
Yeah, I don't think the awards count for playoffs.
They don't. But I mean, I'm just
very
more to the point
humorous.
of the fact that he's been sacked off 4 games, like one series,
basically.
and then
sacked
but
off 4
for
games.
an 82-game series, he was voted as the best coach in the comp.
Yeah.
So the Magoo's moment, I'm happy to go with my man Dwayne. He's the man to lead the Detroit Pistons out of the doldrums.
Well, I love that the Detroit have just seen the opportunity to snap
and
him
go,
up.
well, why
why would you not?
Yeah, the best coach in the comp. We'll sign him to a 5-year deal.
Yeah. It's your team,
So
do what you want.
the Magoo's moment of the week is Dwayne Casey for winning the Coach of the Year in the NBA, all while getting sacked, while signing a lucrative new deal with a new club. So
Very Magoo's.
I reckon it's well played, Dwayne.
Well done, Dwayne. He's a big fan of the show too, Dwayne.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to have to. Because
All right, because we've got a special guest coming, we'll jump straight into Kane Corne,
keep it short.
which I've just realised I don't have the corn for, but that's all right.
That's
It's the sentimental value that
what
counts.
a props anyway.
Kane Corns of the week this week for round 15 goes to Sarah Blake. Now, Sarah Blake is the US correspondent for News Corp. She was the one who broke, and I say broke in quotation mark, broke the news that poor old Steve Smith, former Australian cricket captain, was drinking beers alone.
Of course, yeah, beers. It might have only been one, too.
Yeah.
I mean,
No. The article said several, which could have been 3. Could have been 3 beers.
What's the definition of several? Just
I actually
more than
Googled
one?
that. It's just more than 2, but not that many. That's what it said.
More than 2. So more than 2, less than 5.
Basically, yeah, several. Well, it could be more, but yeah.
Not important.
And, where does someone like that seriously get off? The person who took the video and that is
What's her
already
name?
Sarah Blake. She's a US correspondent for News Corp, Herald Sun, all the paywalls ones. So I didn't get to read the original article because I don't buy their paper, and they asked for a paywall when I tried to look for it. Again, dinosaurs grow up. We people find a way through it.
That we do, yeah.
But
I'm a subscriber.
yeah, so the tabloid read world exclusive: disgraced Smith, a sad sight in New York. Former Australian cricket captain Steve Smith has been spotted drinking several beers alone in a Manhattan bar. Who gives a flying fuck, Jake?
It's no good.
Who
Like,
cares?
I mean,
Who seriously?
And wasn't he out? I think he was out all day with his missus. They were apartment shopping or something.
No, he was, but she's in Italy living. That was in the article that she was in Italy living it up, and that's why part of the reason he was sad. And
But isn't she studying in New York or something like that? Like, and so I mean, yeah, you know, it'd be sad being able to buy an apartment in New York.
yeah,
Like,
that's exactly what I was thinking. It's like,
and then just rolling down and having a couple of beers on your own in the sports bar. Like,
the actual footage is like he's just on his phone having a. He looks nice. He's clean. It's not like he's just like, hey, you're fame. You know who I used to be.
Aggressive, yeah.
Like, grow up, Sarah Blake.
Yeah,
Fucking grow up.
It's no good, is
Fair
it?
income.
Just take the chains off the gym and let the boys play.
Open the gym, let the boys play. That's a great quote from a great movie.
If there was corn, she'd get it.
Sarah Blake, first female, I think, to win it. We're about equality on the show. Want to even it out? Don't want to go down that. No, okay, no worries.
Don't get down the rabbit
But
hole.
speaking of Kane Corns, speaking of socials and Kane Corns, he actually tweeted us the other day.
He finally bit.
He finally
Finally bit.
bit. Poor old Kano. Not poor old. He got stuck into. Well, it was me who did the tweet because I just wanted to.
Yeah.
Hooked him quite easily. He basically liked a tweet from SEN that was a quote of him quoting something about Justin Westhoff. So it was Kane Corns liking a tweet about something that Kane Corns had done. And I just said on our Magoo's account that, oh, look, Kane Corns getting around Kane Corns. Mm-hmm. And he replied, I was getting around Westhoff, you absolute dill. And then his Port Adelaide supporter mates were just right around him, just could not see that he was getting around himself and himself.
So what I saw was, obviously I get the push notifications as well. It just came through on my phone. Kane Corns replied to your tweet.
Yeah.
And it just said, I'm getting around. And I thought, I don't think I've tweeted anything. Like, I mean, I thought it might have been, for my account or whatever. And I thought, oh, here we go. And then I went into it and I thought, I'm staying out of this. And then
you say well clear.
It was a good one it was a good tweet that you sent actually from your personal account. Obviously trying to dilute the support.
That's right, yeah.
And it was, it's like saying, what'd you say? It's like saying water is wet.
I said it would be like saying water is wet, liking a tweet.
Water is wet.
And then claiming you're getting around water.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
No.
it was funny.
No, but anyway.
It was good.
Anyway, that was
Good to have
good.
Kane on the show.
Well, I don't know. I don't like him.
No,
I'd rather not have him on.
okay, well, good reach. So
Well, Kane, if you're not busy, we will get you on the show then.
please.
But Sarah Blake, Kane Corne.
Well, you know what we're going to do? We might as well get our man Paul from the Carlton Draft in here and we'll have a chat. So stick around, Magoo's community. All right, welcome back, Magoo's viewers. Another treat for us, Ben. Guest number 2, second only to the great Jack Fitzpatrick, who we had on
who'll be watching
earlier in the year.
I did
Devout
see that he
watcher.
was following on Twitter. That
Yeah.
was good get.
Yeah, good bloke.
We've
Really good bloke.
we've got Paul here from the Carlton Draft, not the beer, of course.
Unfortunately.
We've got
That'd
Draft
be nice as a
spelled out
sponsor.
DRAFT, the satirical AFL Facebook page. So welcome, Paul, first of all.
Lads, how are we?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, good,
That's
good.
the way.
So I guess we'll go right back to the start of the Carlton Draft. You've now got 97,000 Facebook followers
yeah.
now.
Shit.
Where did it all begin?
It's a lot.
I met a bloke at uni named Jack. I'll send him this. He'll enjoy this. Jack Kane was his name, and he was a bit of a cooked footy fan like myself, and we loved the obscure side of football. Yeah. Like Paul Barnard. I saw Paul Barnard posted before. I love players like that and things like that. He was a Cats fan, and he spoke about how he wanted to get a Facebook page started that was sort of taking the piss out of footy and sort of adding something else to it. And we all sort of, we came up with a few ideas sort of thing, and got together and sat down one day and actually made the Carlton Draft Facebook page. And that was it, and it just sort of took off pretty quickly. And Jack's since left, and he sort of did his own thing. But yeah, it was those first couple of weeks were pretty bizarre.
A lot of fun.
Like, it still is fun now. But yeah, geez, it was odd because I ran Facebook pages before.
If you're listening on the audio, though,
I've used air quotations. I've run Facebook pages before, and they've gotten pretty big, but none as quick as the Carlton Draft. It was just took off.
It helps when you got good content. So
it was those first couple of days, and we were pissed a lot of the time. So that's where all funny and good ideas come from, I guess.
So was it like a slow burn and then took off, or it took off pretty quick?
It just took off.
Yeah?
It was. I think by the end of the first week, I'll go back and look at the numbers one day. But I think by the end of the first week, we had like 5,000 likes, and
in
then
1 week.
Yeah, it was.
Shit.
We
Can't
didn't
take over our Facebook page.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
Similar sort of content.
I don't know. I don't think either of us could really put our finger on it. We just knew that there wasn't really much out there that was taking the piss out of football the way it did.
Yeah, you sort of had
online. I think
and stuff like that, but
not
specific,
AFL specific. And I think me and Jack both knew that a lot of young blokes out there liked taking the piss out of football in that aspect, but there was just nothing you could see online for it. So I don't know. I'm sure there may have been something else, but we
Superseded it pretty
leapfrogged
it.
Yeah, it was it was insane. Yeah,
that's good.
So, I guess moving on into the space where you're in now with all the merchandise and stuff like that, all the shirts and the stubby holders and all that sort of stuff you see rolling around these days. I guess that's an extension of where you sort of started from.
Yeah.
So do you feel like that's sort of taken over, I guess, more now from that satirical posting website sort of side of things?
It's so hard to find the balance because when me and Jack and an animator that we had on board, Jake Blood, check out his stuff on Instagram. He's supremely talented. He's amazing. We started doing the merch. It was sort of a combination of all three of us sort of getting together and sitting down and thinking, like, there's a missing link. Young blokes going to the footy. You don't want to be a full kit wanker when you go to the footy. So it's like, how can you make going to the footy and supporting your team fashionable? It's pretty hard. So when we started doing it, we were pretty careful to try and not just lose what made us what we were and become just a fashion label, which is, it's hard sometimes. You got to toe the line between doing it and not doing it. So at the moment, there's me and a couple of other boys that are on board, Luke, Russell and Alex, that we've all got access now on the Facebook page, and they're not involved in the business side of it, so they'll post we all sort of post memes and all that sort of like funny, I guess, player interviews or whatever, and things like that, just to try and keep the balance.
Yeah, yeah.
Because,
keep the content flowing.
Yeah. No one likes being bombarded
Yeah,
with
that's true.
shitty T-shirts, if
The internet's pretty smart. They're not just, they see it straight away.
Yeah,
sort
of course.
Some
Yeah.
sell-out sort of thing. But,
Yeah,
But
exactly.
the merchandise is not sell. Like, it's actually sick merchandise.
Yeah,
like, a lot of it's really
thank
funny.
you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So when you come up with those ideas, that's sort of just like a couple of you've said, as you said, get together and you think of something like, for example, like the Malbros one. I really like that one. With
that was a
with
classic,
the Melbourne boys in the.
A lot of them come. So right now, the business side of it is owned by myself and our T-shirt printing company, Full Moon Screen Printing, based out in Geelong.
Yep.
When Jack decided that he didn't want to be involved anymore, there was a changeover of hands, and they bought Jack out. And now, so they've been in the printing business since they left high school, which was 15 years ago or something like that. So we just sort of sit down at their warehouse and play a bit of foosball, crack a few stubbies, and think, right, okay, what can we do? And it's we've tried to sit down and nut it out like a real business type meeting, but it never fucking works like that. So it's just, right, let's crack a beer and let's talk shit about footy, and eventually something will come up.
Yeah, well, that's where a lot of the when it comes to comedy, especially, that's where a lot of people do come up with their ideas. I don't know if you've seen like the South Park boys, that 6 days to air, or it's a little doco about how they make a South Park episode.
Yeah.
It's not sitting down and going like, it's just like walking around, doing
have
everyday shit, and then the stuff.
It'll
just
come to you, yeah.
So that's it. I was just sitting around with the boys and then making money at the same time.
It's pretty, it's fun, yeah. Yeah, Rod and Chris are pretty tuned into their footy as well, so it helps,
Yeah, so I guess in that space you've also got some, I guess, social media influencers on board, I guess, in terms of, the Tasmanian Toads that Jack Rewald's on. And I know, I always see him on when he goes on Chrissy, Sam and Brownie, and they're putting photos of him up in the Brownie T-shirt, all those sort of things. Does that just happen by coincidence, or is this something that you've had to work at trying to build a relationship with those sort of guys to help build the brand?
Jack Rewald, I can't speak highly enough of that bloke. He just off his own back bought T-shirts from our site, and we were like, most AFL players, we'd as part of business, I guess you'd give them to them for free.
Yeah,
which is bizarre because they earn more money than all of us. But but we saw on our list orders, we're like, Jack Rewald ordered 3 Tassie Toads T-shirts, and we were
it the Jack Rewald?
And we were like, oh, surely that's him. So we messaged him on Instagram, and he said, yeah, he bought some for him and his dad. And I think his his wife Carly. Them 3. He got 3 T-shirts for them, and so we included a little piss take note in there, and we didn't expect him to post or anything, but he did, and then he said that he was going into Chrissy, Sam and Brownie wearing his Brownie T-shirt. And we're like, oh, dude, you're an absolute legend. Just something to that, to him, that's probably just nothing, just putting on a T-shirt and going to work. But to us, it means a massive amount because we got a lot of sales on
that's
the Brownie
so good.
T-shirt.
He doesn't have to do that.
No, of course not. No, and
it's just
again,
it helps though that it actually is good.
Yeah,
good stuff.
I'm glad that people think that. Yeah,
well, he obviously does, and obviously a few of the boys at Richmond probably get along with the joke as well too.
Yeah,
so.
We've never had any bad instances with AFL players. It's all blokes like Jaden Hunt from the D's. He's been a bloody big help along the way. He gets around it. I think he's a bit of a net head. He loves the internet humour side of things, so he's always around it, and it helps it. He's a pretty well liked player in the industry. And there's if I'd named every AFL player that's helped us out along the way, I'd chew up all your time. The Collingwood boys get around it a bit, which is awesome. I'm a Pies fan, so that gives me a bit of blood flow to where it probably shouldn't. But and the AFLW players are great as well. They always get when we had it. I'm pretty good mates with Taylor Harris from Carlton, and her and Darcy Vecchio, and Libby Birch from the Bulldogs loves it. Her nickname's Liver at the footy club, so she gets around all the liver stuff, which is pretty funny. So they're a great help as well. So it's to answer your question, I guess it's just sort of happened naturally. That was always the aim for us, but the fact that it happened so smoothly that AFL players enjoyed it was great.
Yeah, well, I guess it speaks to the business model that goes back to how you're talking about when you initially started it. Is that there was that gap that people who love their footy but still wanted to take the piss out of it a
Yeah,
bit more.
yeah,
Didn't have
yeah,
that sort
yeah.
of channel, and then you get one and can build it up, and it becomes something that, I mean, even people at the elite level who are
Yeah.
involved in the whole process can grasp onto. So, Paul, if you're happy to hang around, we'll just take a
mate.
quick break.
Of course,
And
yep.
we'll come back with a few more questions for you.
Perfect.
Excellent. Okay, welcome back. Paul from the Carlton Draft is still with us here. We're just going to run through a few last quick things with you. You've been very
of course,
generous
mate.
with your time so far.
I'm not a very busy man.
Yeah, you've come all the way from Geelong down to Preston, just
Like I said,
just for this,
Sunny
apparently, I've heard as well.
Like I said, I'm not a very busy man.
So, as we were speaking about before, you've got this broad range of merchandise and all sorts of different, like beanies and shirts and stuff. Do you have a favourite piece? Does something stick with you that you've just gone, either it was your original idea or one of the other boys has come with it, and when you've seen it come up, it's just like the piece de resistance that...
You've stumped me here. I've actually got so many.
You
I
are
think.
from the Carlton Draft, aren't you?
Yeah. Yes.
That beanie was good.
That one beanie, that was a classic. I think my favourite is possibly the first. So the 4 originals we had were the Kebablet, the Statue of Liber, the Fasolo design, and the Maxi Bont, which was Marcus Bontempelli eating a Max Gorn shaped ice cream. And I think my
There's your mission statement.
my personal favourite is probably the Kebablet, purely because it was my idea. But I've got a big soft spot for the Statue of Liberty, purely because it was me, Jack and Jake sitting there, and it was literally an idea that all 3 of us came up with without meaning to.
Yeah.
So it was... we were discussing, what can we put on these T-shirts and that sort of thing. And I said, just fun, cooked players, Tom Liberatore. Who doesn't love Tom Liberatore, And I was like, Liber on some famous monument would just be hilarious. And Jack was like, oh, yeah, the Statue of Liberty. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be amazing, blah, blah, blah. And then Jake was like, oh, Statue of Liber. T-shirt, and we were all just like, yeah, that'd be funny. And then we all just it was like the penny dropped, and all 3 of us looked up and were like, oh fuck, that actually all came together absolutely perfectly. And I don't think any of us meant it, but it was just real good team effort from the boys. Everyone just played their role.
Real 4-quarter effort.
Yeah,
That's great.
I think that one, I've got a soft spot for the Winnie Roos, which was Jake's. He still does a few designs for us, but when he was full time with us, that was his idea, purely and simply. The Mel Bros is classic. I love it. Again, I had no input in that one either.
Just real authentic Australian. Something. I know the Statue of Liberty isn't, but
Yeah.
packets.
It's Australian humour, though.
I even really loved the Tex Crow, which is just, there's no real joke to it. It's just him riding a crow. It's just, it looks...
Why not?
It's just funny, yeah. Shane Warne riding a cigarette that's my favourite, one of my favourites as well. That was one of my
I like the new
ideas.
sausage, Josh Kennedy kicking a sausage roll.
Yeah, that was,
That's good. Sausage rolls becoming bigger and bigger in the commentary.
Yeah.
Especially with JB.
Calling them sausage
And
rolls.
there was one the other day, the new one, the cappuccino. I like that.
That was
very, kebablet.
When I got in contact with the designer, I said, as you can probably tell, anyone listening to this podcast, I'd go off on tangents and I don't really make much sense when I talk. I've called Justin on Back and Forth Design on Instagram. He's amazing. Check him out. I was like, just Kappa taking a big specky out of a cappuccino, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, yep. And I'm like, actually, just look at the kebablet and just
You work it out.
And he's like, yeah, I got it. He's sensational. I'll just give a quick plug out to all of our designers. Danger Wayne 86, this is all on Instagram. Ash Schmidt, Jake Blood, and Back and Forth Justin, which is back end 4TH. They're sensational, and none of this, I can't draw for shit, so none of this would be, and neither can the Rod and Chris at Full Moon screen printing. So none of this would be possible without them. So big thanks to them, and check out their work. Yeah.
The animation in it is actually pretty good.
Oh, that's what makes it. Anyone,
even
the boys that help with the memes and the articles and stuff like that, Luke, Russell, and Alex, they'll often sit there and say, you'd be fucking nothing if you didn't have the animators, because you can't fucking draw. So big thanks to all involved, actually. So, yeah.
Do you ever just go through names and just think of pun? Is that like your...
Yeah,
because a lot of them are pun.
Yeah, we like
related,
to sit there and think
good.
of like puns, I guess, and or even just like what shit would look cool. I think. Yeah.
Have you done anything with Basil yet? Basil Zamclis?
No, not
I
really.
reckon he's
probably due.
There's something there.
He's
Isn't
due
there?
for something to do with him in Perth and
know,
only being in Perth.
he
and
does
only
get
some
only
eyes,
allowed
isn't
in Perth.
He's got a smoking hot missus.
Yeah,
She
he
seems he is president of the batting above your average club. Good on him.
Good on you, Basil.
We're starting to get into commentators. We've got a Dennis Cometti shirt at the moment. We've got a few BTs.
I
think commentators are the next step for us, I think.
Yeah.
So Basil's definitely due.
You should have one of Luke Darcy sitting on a fence.
Say that again.
Should have one of Luke Darcy.
Luke Darcy sitting on the fence. I like that. He fucking does that all the time. Just every.
That's like you got to think about that one.
With some gloves as well.
With some gloves on.
Just before we let you go, obviously, we're titled the Magoos, so we like to think of ourselves as the next rung down from everyone else.
From the seniors.
So your own footy experience, can you talk to us about your own experience playing the game? How good are you? How good were you? Are you Magoo's quality? Are you better than that?
I was lucky. The club I play for, Geelong West, we were previously the Geelong West Cheetahs, now we're the Geelong West Giants. Best club in Australia. I fucking love that place.
Been to a few different clubs?
I come from Mount Gambier originally.
Okay.
Played at the East Gambier Bulldogs. Another real good community club, family-based.
Yeah.
Everyone's got time for everyone. At both clubs, I lucked out. I genuinely think I've been to the first and second best footy clubs in Australia. The only problem is, for a long time, the Geelong West Cheetahs, now Giants, were not good on field. We were great off field. Jeez, we had some good times. I can't remember any of them, but they were good times. And we were hopeless on the field. So I lucked my way into a few senior games there. I played 3 or 4 years of senior footy there, but now I'm in my rightful position as the club's success is built. I'm back in the twos, which is a bit more fun at getting on the piss earlier.
It's good fun.
No, I was lucky enough to be named captain of the twos this year, so I'm enjoying it.
Big shout out.
As Magoo's
As Magoo's as it can get.
As it gets.
Well done.
If the shoe fits, eh?
And that's why I wanted to be here. No, I've had a lot of unfortunate injuries. I've got fake teeth, they're.
Party trick.
And that wasn't even like, I'd love to say it was through sheer toughness, but it wasn't. I was just running one way I shouldn't have been, and I copped it. One of my great mates, Scott Jervis, I copped an errant elbow from him.
Just on the field or just walking?
On the Saturday night on the piss at the pub during a game of footy. That was the most pain I've ever been in, I reckon. Yeah. So to answer your question, I'm no good. But I've met some sensational people along the way, and I wouldn't trade my personal football experiences for anything, because I've met some of the best people I'll ever meet at both clubs. So
very nice. Okay.
Well said.
Well, Paul, just before we let you go, tell everyone out there in the Magoo's community where they can find your socials, websites, everything. Give us your best plug.
The Carlton Draft on Facebook, DRAFT, same on Instagram. We haven't hit Twitter yet. We'll leave that to the Magoos. They seem to be dominating that sphere. You can find links to our shop on both the Facebook and Instagram page. And if you use the discount code at checkout, Magoos1, you'll get 10% off your order. So use that money to buy piss, drugs, whatever you. It's your money. You've saved your money. You do what you want with it. So enjoy. Thanks for having me, boys.
Very nice, Paul.
That's a very good plug.
More than happy to come up whenever
the mood strikes.
Whenever you need someone.
Always welcome.
Whenever you can't get Jack Fitzpatrick again, I'm more than happy to swan by.
Nice.
Excellent. Paul, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks,
for joining
boys.
us.
Paul.
Good to meet
Good
you
luck with it
both.
all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Ben, great to have Paul from the Carlton Draft in here having a bit of a chat about how the pop culture, football and business worlds have all come together for
only
the
ones
boys
really
there at
doing it.
Carlton
Good on
Draft. And so make sure Magoo's community, you do get on to their website and use the discount code Magoos1 for 10% off. We'll be running a few competitions over the next few weeks, which will be exciting.
Awesome.
So, Ben, another big round of footy coming up.
Yeah.
We're excited. Thursday night footy, Richmond, Sydney, just huge. I want you to tell me, at the moment, every club's played 13 games. Who wins a Brownlow?
I think you're going to say which clubs have played 13 games.
Okay,
So you just
all would be
Brownlow. I'm going to go with the favourite. I think Tom Mitchell, just based off people getting rubbed out and inconsistencies from other players.
Okay, interesting. I'll go with a Fife Cripps draw up the top. Both on the same votes. Fife ineligible, Cripps a standalone Brownlow medal winner.
It's almost like you're from the future. You've already seen that.
Magoo.
If that actually happens, this should blow up. That would be good for our brand.
That'd be fantastic. Okay, thanks for watching Magoo's Community. Tune in next week when Ben will be explaining to us why he hasn't told us about his girlfriend yet. Cheers, thank you.